what they did for Will's sake.
What's Philly Will is back, baby.
But he's reverting back to his old ways.
Let's go.
We're in season 2. Will is sort of trying to find a father figure and he isn't sure what that is. Can you talk a little bit more about that journey for him and in finding this sort of mentor / father figure this season?
Will is on that journey to find a father figure that he can trust. You know, he didn't have his father growing up. When he got to Bel-Air, Uncle Phil kind of filled that void. But at the end of the season, a big secret comes out.
You stood right there, and you told me you would give me every opportunity to create the future I want.
And I meant
No,
that.
you didn't. You lied, and you clipped my wings from the start. And you let me think my dad abandoned me. And now I can't trust none of y'all.
Once that trust is broken, it's hard to get that back. And so Will is outside of the gates of Bel-Air, searching elsewhere for a father figure and for a mentor. And Doc really fills that role.
There's this big-time scout, and he's helped a lot of dudes get to the pros.
That fancy Bel-Air team got you and your game, so if you come work with me, sky's the limit.
He's a dope recruiter who can get Will to that next level. And so Will sees the future in him.
Doc played wonderfully by Brooklyn McGlynn this season as a coach and AAU and a mentor and a recruiter, and feels very much like home. He feels like a West Philly kind of guy, and Will just sort of naturally gravitates to this character, Doc, and is sort of caught in between Doc on one side, Uncle Phil on the other, because Uncle Phil and Doc are very different people.
There's something about Doc that just doesn't sit well with Phil. He can smell, and he just feels that there's something not quite right over in this corner.
I need to keep him under my wing, not that guy's wing. So it's definitely a push-pull for Will's soul all season long.
A struggle.
You know, it's like the Emperor and Obi-Wan, you know. Doc is like the Emperor is like, you know, come over, you know, to come to the dark side. And I'm like, no, you were supposed to bring balance to the Force. Yeah. Anyway.
He's a nerd.
I'm a nerd. I am. I'm so
I love
much
it.
like
Come on, nerds represent.
So much like my character.
You were the chosen one.
We previously talked about Carlton being a menace and how that brought about a lot of conflict with Will, but it looks like in season 2, we're gonna get more of that classic Will and Carlton team up dynamic. Would you say that's the case?
You know, I will say, I think Carlton the Menace maybe should be my new Twitter handle, because that is my favorite title. I wear it with pride. You know, in this season, we begin and we see that Carlton and Will have found their similarities. You know, I think in the first season, they very much defined their relationship by their differences and where they both came from. But in this season, we really find that they connect on the ways that they're similar, right? And we see a dynamic that's much more similar to the original show.
A little of the OG bromance between Will and Carlton that people were looking for last season that didn't really come.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
So this season tried to really put them in a place of starting from trying to be a dynamic duo and a bit of a team, and a friendship is developing there that is still a little fraught, but they're trying to be in a better place.
That classic Will and Carlton team up is something that I love about the original, that camaraderie, that brotherhood. And I'm super excited for fans to see that this season. Like that dynamic is so fun to play with. Olly is just amazing.
When is it my time to feel valued?
And Aunt Viv going on her journey in her art world now that she's trying something new with this new fellowship, that juggle of being a mom, but also trying to find your own professional path through.
What kind of artist does she want to be? Does she have the guts that it takes to be fully self-expressed? Will she find the support group that'll allow her to be those things? What happens to her relationship with her husband now that she's so focused on her artwork? Will she be able to take care of all her children at the same time? There ain't enough coffee in the day for this.
Yeah, she needs a break. She needs a vacation. Something.
We have Daphne Maxwell Reid back, our original Aunt Viv, and she was involved last season with Aunt Viv's storyline as well in her art world. And she is a very big part of Viv's story this season in her arc, and causes a little bit of trouble in a fun way.
Daphne causes a little bit of trouble, but I also want to talk about Michael Ealy, because I know Viv and Phil are like solid, but it felt like he was a little bit of a temptation there. So Have you thought about bringing him back to be, a little bit more tempting this season?
Reed may or may not make an appearance, I won't say.
Well, we're going to definitely deal with that Michael Ealy energy. We're going to deal with that.
Jeffrey's very good at looking into people. Has Uncle Phil asked him to look into Michael Ealy's character because he was getting a little too comfortable with Aunt Viv last season? And for you, Olly, piggybacking off that, would you call him stepdad?
Yo, here's the thing. My dad is sitting right next to me, so I'm gonna plead the fifth.
Good.
Because personally,
Smart man.
I like having a house to sleep in.
Oh, man. Well, look, certain people might be going missing. I don't know.
Jeffrey has a gun. Just remember that.
We need to talk about our partnership.
You're a boss. I'm just trying to bring it out.
If you don't set the tone, she's just gonna keep on walking all over you.
She's trying to get the influencer house rebranded, being in her boss lady era right now. What can you say about Hillary's journey, Coco?
Hillary is just figuring it out. At the end of the day, she has this upper echelon air to her, but really she's a young woman trying to find a seat at this table, create a lane for herself. She has this relationship with the Jazz and that balance of being a boss and then also being in a relationship and being loved. I think she's just navigating life. And of course, she goes through the bumps in the road, and this is a drama. So there's going to be some twists and turns that I cannot wait for my audience to see.
Ashley, I feel like she's figuring out who she is and learning more about the politics. What has it been like for you to explore that with your character? And did you feel like you could relate to that?
I did feel like I can relate to that. I think Ashley has definitely matured last season and this season. You know, she hits a big milestone turning 13. And so she just deals with a lot more struggles, a lot more at home struggles too. And she really just tries to find a solution for everything.
It looks like we're going to see more about Jazz this season. What can you say about his journey in season 2?
I could say you're gonna learn something, I guess, more layered with Jazz when it comes to, maybe his insecurities. That's great because in the first season, you don't really see any insecurities he has. He just is the guy who always has the answers. People are gonna see it, not a different side of Jazz, but just an added part to everything that you've already seen. That's like emotionally or just, in a relationship, like, feeling a certain way, feeling like maybe he's too good for people or maybe he's not good enough for people. So, yes.
And you're also bringing in Jackie, one of the iconic love interests for Will. We've got Jackie coming in.
Come on.
And
no.
Listen, yes. And what I loved about the original character was that, she was such a down-to-earth homegirl, but had a little bit of an edge to her. Will we see those characteristics in this version as well?
Yes, the character of Jackie, played by Jaslyn Martin this season, is important as we try to have some fun with the love triangles with Will and Lisa, as he's trying to sort of figure out and hold on to that West Philly part of him. He spends more time in South LA because those feel like his people. That feels like the neighborhoods that he grew up in. That's his comfort zone. So leaving Bel-Air for a little bit, he meets Jackie over there, and she's very different and it feels very much like the young ladies he grew up with in West Philly. And that's a different part of him.
She brings out a different side of Will. I think a lot of the times things can come easy for Will, and this isn't one of them. You know what I mean? And so Will he's interested in pursuing and chasing. And so she's connected to Doc in a specific way. And so he's interested in delving into that world and learning more about her. And she's a very interesting person.
Yeah. Okay. But what about Lisa? Because she's still there too. Come on now.
Oh,
It sounds like it's going to get messy.
Oh, it's going to get messy. It's going to get messy. It's a love triangle for sure. I say Lisa is the soul, but Jackie brings the spice.
Oh my gosh, it's definitely messy. It's messy. It's exciting.
And, aside from the relationship with Will, is there anything else that she's dealing with this season? What can you say?
Yes, she is dealing with other things this season. I mean, if Will's got a Jackie, who's Lisa's got, So,
Oh, talk your talk, man. Keep talking that talk.
You know what I'm looking forward to? This season, there's a lot of joy. We had fun in the first season, but there's a lot of fun in this season. A lot of comedic moments and there's a lot of celebration. That's all I'm going to say. There's a lot of joy.
Which is a bit of a throwback to the original series as well. That fun that they had, we got to explore that a lot this season, and it was so much fun.
And I second and third that.